Shaq was a shitty free throw shooter. He missed dunks. He airballed free throws. He can't shoot. He couldn't shoot outside the paint. He's bigger than everybody. He ain't had any skill, but he was bigger and stronger than everybody. And he's still a great player. But you had your flaws too as a player. And he played on 5 or 6 teams too, so it's not like he's just his perfect, center.
Shaquille O'Neal just absolutely incinerated Kevin Durant's entire argument for the GOAT conversation. And he didn't even break a sweat doing it. For years, KD has been campaigning for a seat at the table next to Michael Jordan and LeBron James, pointing to his 2 rings, 2 Finals MVPs, and a scoring touch that's arguably the smoothest in basketball history. But Shaq just stepped into the booth and delivered a cold-blooded reality check that Durant definitely didn't see coming. On his podcast, Shaq said out loud what the critics have been whispering for years. Kevin Durant wasn't the one driving the bus in Golden State. According to the Big Diesel, KD wasn't the captain of that ship. He was just a passenger along for the ride.
I think he has his own special category, like me. I'm not in the GOAT category, but I am one of 2 of the most dominant players ever. So he's one of 2 of the most prolific, dominant scorers ever.
That is absolute insanity, because KD has been catching heat lately following back-to-back playoff sweeps. He is still out here trying to convince the world that those Warriors titles carry the same weight as championships built from the ground up. But Shaq just came out swinging like a heavyweight, and none of his verbal punches missed the mark. Think about the gravity of this. Shaq didn't just bar Durant from the GOAT club. He shoved him into a completely different category. A tier for elite talents who never truly took the wheel when the pressure was at its peak. Coming from a 4-time champion like Shaq, that critique cuts deep. This friction between the Big Diesel and KD has been simmering for nearly a decade. But these latest comments just poured gasoline on a long smoldering fire. Shaq was chopping it up with Lou Williams and Bill Bellamy when the topic of KD's legacy exploded, and the energy in the room shifted instantly. Adam Lefkoe dropped that loaded question. Everyone's been debating for years. Does Kevin Durant belong in the GOAT conversation? That's when Lou Williams stepped up to bat for KD. Lou has battled him in the postseason. He's witnessed that cold-blooded killer instinct firsthand. He saw Durant incinerate the Clippers in that iconic 2019 series, raining down buckets like it was nothing more than target practice. And Lou wasn't finished. Not by a long shot.
I think so. And I think so. Kevin Durant is a transcendent talent, bro. Like we've never seen
it before.
We've never seen anybody like KD.
He made sure everyone remembered that Kevin Durant isn't just a tall guy on the court. He's 7 feet of pure, unadulterated finesse. The man operates like a point guard, breaking ankles with crossovers and pulling up with a stroke so smooth it makes elite defenders look like amateurs. From a pure talent perspective, Lou hit the bullseye. KD's skill set is nothing short of ridiculous. But then, he dropped a truth bomb that echoed through the room. He admitted that KD's timing on that infamous career move was straight up catastrophic. And honestly, calling it bad is being generous. KD didn't just seek out a new team. He defected to the exact squad that had just sent him packing. He joined the very same Warriors team that crawled out of a brutal 3-1 hole to humiliate him in the playoffs. That single decision follows him like a permanent shadow. No matter the scoring titles or the broken records, the world refuses to let it go. And maybe they never will. If you really want to understand why Shaq stays on KD's neck like this, you have to rewind the tape. This feud didn't ignite on a random podcast or a Twitter thread. It has roots that go way back to 2017. It all started with JaVale McGee during Shaq's legendary Shaqtin' a Fool segment. That's where the first spark flew, and trust me, it's been smoldering ever since.
The timing was bad when he went to Golden State. Right after that, right after losing to them, then going to them. I think any other year in his career he'd go there, it's not looked at as that particular thing. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's such a sensitive subject with people in basketball and basketball debates.
Shaq had been clowning players for years. It was all for the cameras, pure entertainment, nothing personal. But the vibe shifted instantly when Kevin Durant, who was JaVale's teammate at the time, decided to white knight for his guy. KD didn't just clap back. He called Shaq's entire act childish. But then, he took it to a level you just don't go with a legend. In an interview, Durant went straight for the Big Diesel's resume, claiming Shaq airballed free throws, botched dunks, and was useless outside the paint. KD even had the nerve to say Shaq wasn't actually skilled, that he was just a product of being big and strong. Now pause and let that sink in. Kevin Durant, who at that point hadn't even touched an NBA trophy, was out here taking headshots at a four-time champion, one of the most terrifying and unstoppable forces the game has ever witnessed. That is a bold move that was destined to leave a scar. KD was dissecting Shaq's flaws like he'd already spent a decade as a proven franchise leader. That is wild. It takes a serious amount of nerve to come at the Big Diesel with that kind of energy, and maybe a little too much ego for someone still hunting for his first ring. But Shaq? Oh, he wasn't about to let that slide. Not for a single second. In a sit-down with Sports Illustrated, he fired back with one of the most savage lines of their entire feud. Shaq didn't just insult him, he backhanded him with a compliment that cut deeper than any diss. He basically said Durant belonged in the same category as 3 Hall of Fame legends, but not for the reasons you'd think.
You was surrounded by superstars everywhere you went.
But I did it under the rules of the system. When I first got to Orlando, I didn't have much. I saw that we can get him. The next year, I saw that Horace Grant was saying he wasn't coming back to Chicago. I snatched him. You know what I'm saying? So then when I leave, I go to LA. I see that, Kobe, he's coming, but he's not quite there yet. So give me a B show. Give me a Robert Ory. Give me a Fox. Like this was all done under the
Fox.
Yeah, like this was all done under the rule system. It ain't like we played against him and then lost them and then I said, hey, you want to play with me next year? Nope.
Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, and John Stockton. All icons, all legends, but all notoriously ringless. Shaq's message was crystal clear. KD, you've got the skills, but you don't belong in my club. That was the sting that really burned. Shaq wasn't just talking trash for a quick laugh. He was setting a standard for what true greatness requires. He wanted the world to know that in his book, legends aren't built on hollow numbers or flashy highlights. They're forged by delivering when the entire season is on the line. That is the line between being the real deal and just an almost. Shaq took it a step further, making it personal by contrasting the grit of the old school with today's sensitivity. He recalled when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the most revered figures in history, told a young Shaq, "You're not in the club yet." Shaq didn't sprint to the media or fire off a defensive tweet. He didn't call Kareem bitter or outdated. Instead, he swallowed that pill, stayed silent, and retreated into the grind. That's the mentality Shaq swears today's stars have lost. Kareem didn't sugarcoat a single thing. He called Shaq out on the global stage, telling him his stats were meaningless without a championship ring. It was raw, public, and brutal. And Shaq's response? He didn't post a cryptic IG story or argue with strangers. He dominated. He went out, put in the work, and collected 4 rings specifically to silence that noise. He didn't need social media, because his game spoke with a volume words could never match. Now, look at Kevin Durant. Every time an OG questions his legacy or points out that his rings feel different, KD hits Twitter. He's firing off replies, clapping back from burner accounts and getting into the weeds with random fans. He even told a legend like Shaq to get over it. That exact lack of accountability is what Shaq has been exposing all along.
Shaq was a shitty free throw shooter. He missed dunks. He airballed free throws. He can't shoot. He couldn't shoot outside the paint. He's bigger than everybody. He ain't had no skill, but he was bigger and stronger than everybody. And he's still a great player there. You had your flaws too as a player. And he played on 5 or 6 teams too, so it's not like he's just this perfect center.
That difference in mindset is everything. Old school legends handle doubt with the grind, not with tweets. Shaq's point is impossible to ignore, and to truly understand how this tension reached a boiling point, you have to rewind to May 2016. That was the crossroads for Kevin Durant's entire story. The Oklahoma City Thunder had the 73-win Warriors on the ropes in the Western Conference Finals. Up 3-1, KD was playing out of his mind, dropping 30 a night like it was a warm-up. Russell Westbrook was a human hurricane, wrecking defenses everywhere. They had already dismantled a 67-win Spurs team. They were 1 win away from the finals and 1 win away from changing KD's narrative forever. But then, the collapse began. In Game 6, with a chance to close it out in Oakland, Durant's rhythm vanished. He finished with 29 points, but it took him a staggering 31 shots to get there. As Klay Thompson caught fire and turned the series on its head, you could feel the Thunder's confidence cracking. Then came Game 7, the night that defined a decade. Despite KD's 27 points, OKC imploded under the bright lights. In those final 3 games, Durant and Westbrook coughed up a combined 30 turnovers. 30. It was pure chaos. The Warriors pulled off the miracle comeback, leaving KD at a career-defining dead end. The real shocker came months later. Instead of coming back hungry to finish the job, Durant made the most controversial move in sports history. He signed with the team that had just humiliated him. He didn't just join a new squad, he defected to the enemy. Overnight, his image flipped. Legends were stunned. This wasn't building greatness, it was taking a shortcut. On the podcast, Shaq broke down why this never sat right with him. Shaq's path was the opposite. He built from the ground up. He put Orlando on the map, then went to LA to anchor a dynasty. Shaq wasn't chasing rings, he was the reason the rings existed. He was the bus driver, the centerpiece, the man everyone feared. Durant, however, bought a first-class ticket on a bus that was already cruising at full speed toward a title. He didn't fire up the engine, he just enjoyed the ride. The beef exploded into overdrive in January 2023. KD decided to test Shaq's basketball IQ on Twitter, dropping 6 words that started a firestorm. Shaquille doesn't know ball. The Big Diesel didn't just respond, he incinerated him. After roasting KD's hairline, Shaq finished with 4 words that hit like a knockout punch. Love the bus driver. With that, Shaq reminded KD of the hierarchy. Shaq drove his teams to 4 titles. He was the leader in the locker room and the force on the floor. In Shaq's eyes, KD has always been the passenger in the back, while someone else handled the wheel. KD's final response said it all. Damn, I got cooked. You can argue with fans all day, but when a legend like Shaq checks your resume, the tone changes fast. That moment proved the difference between talking, like the boss, and actually being the boss. Let's strip away all the talk and look at the numbers, because the stats tell the real story of Kevin Durant's career. When KD was with the Golden State Warriors, he was practically untouchable, going 38-10 in the playoffs, an insane 79% win rate. Back-to-back titles in 2017 and 2018, paired with back-to-back finals MVPs. He looked like he was rewriting history in real time. But here is where the air gets thin. Take Golden State out of the equation, and it's a completely different game. Without that dynasty surrounding him, Durant's playoff record drops to 57 wins and 50 losses, barely scraping above 500. No rings, no finals wins, just pure frustration. Let's break it down further. In Oklahoma City, KD made it to exactly 1 finals and walked away empty-handed. In Brooklyn, he was swept right out of the building by the Boston Celtics. Then in Phoenix, it happened again. Swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves. That isn't just a slump, it's a pattern. And it screams one thing. When Durant is surrounded by all-time greatness, he shines. But when the spotlight is on him to carry the entire load alone, that glow fades fast. Those numbers don't lie. That isn't the resume of a bus driver. That's what happens when you're riding shotgun while someone else has their foot on the gas. Shaq has been preaching this for years, and when you stack their careers side by side, the difference is night and day. Shaq collected 4 rings under totally different circumstances, with different teammates, in different cities. He took Orlando to the finals with Penny Hardaway, dominated LA with Kobe Bryant, grabbing 3 straight finals MVPs while running the whole show. And then, when critics said he was washed, he rolled into Miami and snatched another title alongside Dwyane Wade. At every stop, Shaq was the leader, the enforcer, the bus driver. Durant, on the other hand, the only bus he's ever driven went straight to an early playoff exit. And that's not hate, that's history. This clash is about two different blueprints for greatness. The old school, guys like Shaq and Barkley, believe respect is earned by taking down your rivals, not joining them. When MJ couldn't get past Detroit, he didn't call them up to team up. He hit the gym and ended their era. When Shaq couldn't get past the Bulls, he didn't ask Jordan for a spot on the roster. He went to LA and built his own empire. Durant tries to defend his choices by saying the league has evolved, but some standards are timeless. Leadership is one of them. Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, 3 different eras, but they all did one thing. They led. They took the hits, called the shots, and lifted the trophy through sheer willpower. Meanwhile, Durant continues to clap back at the old heads online, but here's the reality. Those old heads run the legacy game. They are the gatekeepers of history, and right now, they're saying KD isn't in the GOAT circle. Not until he proves he can drive his own bus to the finish line. At 36 years old and on his 4th team, KD's championship window is slamming shut. Shaq summed it up perfectly. Durant belongs in his own category as one of the coldest scorers ever, but he's not at the GOAT table. He wants his rings to carry the same weight as Jordan's or Kobe's, but that respect hasn't followed him since he left Oakland. No one questions his bag. His scoring is elite and effortless. But greatness isn't just about the prettiest buckets. It's about being the one who carries a team through the fire. Shaq even has a signature way of throwing shade at this, saying KD doesn't have G14 classification. That's Shaq speak for, you're great, but you don't have full access to the Legends table yet. It's a reminder that those Warriors rings come with a permanent asterisk. So, is Shaq right? Is KD forever locked out of the GOAT convo? Or does he still have one more move left to silence every critic before the clock runs out? If KD can pull off one more title on his own terms, that changes everything. If you're feeling these unfiltered NBA breakdowns, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Basketball Pulse. This saga is far from over.